Well, good day, ComBappers and lurkers and anybody else. Welcome to ComBap Update today. Unable to live stream this. YouTube's got a bit of a problem, so this will be recorded. So no live interaction today, which we don't get much anyway. So no big hairy deal. Got a few things for us today that for us to look at. First off, let's start off with our Bible verse. And today I want to go to Genesis chapter 50. You remember the story of Joseph, and he was taken into captivity after his brothers were going to kill him, then changed their mind, threw him in a well cistern. Traveling caravan came through, picked him up, took him to Egypt, became a slave. Ended up, after being a slave, ended up in prison. After being in prison, ended up being a servant, and after coming and rescuing Egypt, became second in command. Okay, that's the short version. But there's one little verse here. And it's a couple little verses. Verse 19, Joseph said to them, "Don't be afraid." So he's talking to his brothers. His brothers have showed up looking for food because there's a famine in their land. Don't be afraid. I am in the place of God. You intended to harm me, but God intended it to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. And again, that phrase, the way the NIV puts it, God intended it doesn't quite smack right, because obviously it wasn't that God intended Joseph harm at any point, but God allowed it. But I like how the way Eugene Peterson puts it in the message. Don't be afraid. Do I act for God? Don't you see, you planned evil against me, but God used those same plans for good, as you see all around me right now. Life for many people. So just a reminder that even in bad circumstances that God is not the author of, God can still bring about good from those circumstances. Today I've got a couple of things just to bring up to us. First off, on our church website again, check it out. Over on this top right-hand corner, there is a little button that says library. We've got Doreen Martins does a great job of our library, and we've got tons of books in there. You scroll down the left side, I don't know if you can see it or not, but scroll down the left side for the different categories. There is a few children's issues and stuff, but we have a lot of fiction, good old novels. And you know what? Sometimes during times where you want to sort of have an escape from reality, there's lots of great novels here. I think my wife may have read half of these already, but there's tons of books. And if you want a book and are unable to come and check one out, just let us know and we'll drop it in your mailbox for you. Just pick the one you want, and we'll drop it in the mailbox. So that's our church library. All the pretty much all the titles that we have are on this on that website link at our page right there where it says library. Penny's been keeping us updated, so please take note of that. Our Right Now media clip today is again, we've already used him once, but we're going to use him again real quick. He's and this is one of Penny's picks again. Henry Cloud, A Healing Body.
And throughout the Bible, is that those three ingredients connect to God's biggest principles: His grace, His truth, and using time. And what we're going to do is we're going to unpack kind of how those work. You know, the digging around part, what do we dig around to find? You know, the tree wasn't getting better. We can't just look at the outside. What he had to do, he's going to dig around and go underneath the surface and find out what's there. And then he had to fertilize. He had to give it something that it couldn't produce for itself, some food and nourishment. And we're going to talk about that. And then thirdly, this wasn't going to happen in a weekend retreat. Growth takes place over time as we're planted and firmly rooted in these different processes.
Okay, he actually, in this video series, which is, I think it's about 5 sessions of about 10 minutes each. So 5 sessions of about 10 minutes each. He says, let's give this a year. Let's make a long-term project here for doing with Healing Body. So that's on Right Now Media. The link is in the description, as well as the link to our library today. And I have one more website I want to bring you is 20 prayers to pray during this pandemic. Christianity Today has a nice article there. And, you're going to have some time on your hands, so let's use it productively. And they give a nice sort of list of praying through 20 different aspects of life as we are facing it now for the next few weeks. So take a few moments and pray through these 20 different things. They're all very short, as you can see. That's from Christianity Today, and that's the link that's also in the description below. Oh, there's my calendar. Isn't that nice? Look how empty it is. Wow. Isn't that something? Well, I got an interview today. Actually, we've got Mark Doerksen graciously gave us an interview. I'll explain who he is in the interview. And so, without much further ado, here's Mark Doerksen and my interview with him just yesterday for us to enjoy today. Okay, good morning, everyone. Pastor Joel here, and this guy right there in your big screen is Mark Doerksen, Reverend Mark Doerksen, the area minister for the Heartland. Heartland being the Saskatchewan, Manitoba region, and Mark's in Winnipeg, home of Manitoba, which has the lowest number of coronavirus cases and of all the big provinces. So, what are you guys doing right over there?
Well, I'm not sure, but it was remarkable to watch the jump in Saskatchewan cases. So they say that at this stage in the virus, it's not really it doesn't really it's not all that advantageous, right?
Yeah.
The numbers at this point in time. So
yeah.
We'll see how it turns out. So.
But I know that in Saskatchewan they finally are doing the testing right here in Regina, so that's part of the number jump too. But nevertheless, it's good to see the numbers are not exploding, and hope to stay that way. But as the denomination has sort of been dealing with this, you've got some resources that you'd like to tie us into.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the pieces of resourcing the churches at this point in time is how to stay connected, right? Mm-hmm. And so with most people shutting down their buildings and their services, there's still ways to be the church, right, and to take care of one another. And so some of those things are what we're highlighting and trying to be a part of. Some churches aren't as tech savvy, right? So they're diving into this a little bit with they're not as tech savvy as Joel, I should say. And so they're diving into this with a little bit of trepidation.
You should see the mess I have in here with stuff laying around trying to get things to work. So.
Yeah, but so some are recording earlier, and then some are trying to do kind of a live presentation. And so some platforms like Zoom or Skype, or there's some other pieces too, where you can some other platforms that you can use to make that happen. So Facebook Live, I think, but I'm not a Facebook person. I just troll my wife's account.
Yes, you do. I noticed that. So as far as like for individuals, say in our church, what would be some of the things you would like to sort of point to?
Sorry, I missed the last part.
As the church here in sort of current, what were some of the resources you'd like to point us to?
Well, let's see. Well, you're already looking after the live streaming and all that kind of stuff, but it's the piece about staying connected with each other. Mm-hmm. I think that's really important at this point in time. So, apart from the live stream and having coffee and all those sorts of things virtually, like I've tried to go and make use of my phone more. Mm-hmm. And so I'm actually calling people from the church and making sure, not just the elderly, but some others as well, just to keep in contact. And there's been one couple in our church, for instance, their daughter has been a part of a program where their daughter has been in Guatemala and they haven't been able to fly home. Mm-hmm. And so I've been trying to keep tabs on them and so on and so forth. So, just looking out for each other that way. I think those are important pieces. And then, of course, some of the people in our churches are losing their jobs, right? Yeah. And it's not just my kids. My kids are university age, and so service industry, and so they've lost their jobs quite quickly. Mm-hmm. And so paying attention to that, and at the same time trying to pay attention to, there's needs in the congregation too, right? And so, you're trying to make ways so that people can contribute to the church, knowing full well that, some of the economic difficulties might well be on the people within the congregation. Yeah, so exactly. There's a sensitivity to that and all that kind of stuff.
Good. So, how are you seeing around the Heartland some of the different responses from churches?
A lot of them are actually quite the same. There's some that are, they're trying to do the online service part. They're trying to look after the most vulnerable. Some are a little bit more hesitant to cancel their services mm-hmm. because, especially if the virus isn't in their area and they're a rural church and then they're tough, they're tough people, tough farmers typically. they're not as inclined to do some of that stuff. So, but now I think now every church, as far as I know, is looking for alternate ways to meet. So.
Right. Well, you were usually a road warrior as area minister, and now you're sitting in. Is this your basement office? I can't tell. I'm looking for
No,
your.
it's
I'm looking for your.
my office upstairs.
I'm looking for your Saskatchewan Rough Rider stuff.
Well,
I don't see
Joel,
it
and you'd appreciate this. This is my office within reach. So that's just for you, Joel.
there. I got to colorize that red when they distribute the video.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate your ministry, Mark, and we ask that you keep us in your prayers as we will be keeping you guys and all of our other Heartland churches in our prayers. And we do appreciate you reaching out to us, and God bless you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Joel.
All
Nice
right.
to talk to you.
Bye-bye. Okay, well, that was Pastor Mark. My wife says, you don't never make yourself big. There. Isn't that gross? All right. I have a face for radio. I'm going to let the sun shine. And, it's been, look at that. Oh, my goodness. It's a beautiful day today. And that's a good reminder to us that, you can get out and do some walking, do some talking, spend some time even on your phone, talking with somebody. Pick up your church directory, give somebody a call. This is our pastoral directory from a while back. And today, Tricia Del Rosario and Peyton Ward, happy birthday. So, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Should we do the other one? A happy birthday to you. A happy birthday to you. May you feel Jesus near every day of the year. A happy birthday to you. A happy birthday to you. And the best year you ever had. There, that's an old classic Sunday school one. Here's an interesting book. So, just as a little bit of a gag. Well, not much of a gag. This was Songs for Youth, except this was printed in 1951. Before I was even born. There are 128 songs in here. If you send me an email, a text, or a Facebook comment, and you say, sing number, and then you pick a number, I will try to sing that song. I might need a little bit of practice in advance, but I will try to sing at least a line or two from that particular song. So these are youth songs, supposedly, from 1951. So that's it. That's all I got for today. Nice chatting with you. Please send, again, continued comments. And again, check the website. Penny's got all kinds of good resources there. And for sure, if there's any needs, let us know as a church congregation how we can help you, and we will do what we can. All right, God bless.